Hey, what's up, Dean? SEER Performance at the shop. JR Jr., not sure. 34 Ford kit car, but I got a bunch done today. I got the bus bar in, so I mounted the positive one there. I may or may not use the negative one, depends. But I got the wire built that runs down into the starter for this wire here that runs up to that block. I also built the alternator wire and made a decision. This is alternator power, one of those red wires that was dangling over there with the tape on it. This is alternator power. Then I fed this wire down to the starter. So I hate stacking on the starter, but you can see it right there. There's 3 wires on the starter. This one has a lot of room, so I'm kind of okay with it. Then the Phytech positive, I put it behind direct to battery, kind of going off of what the Holley Terminator is, that your main power and ground go directly to battery to try and eliminate RFI. So I also built the ground off that post, and I scraped down the like anodized coating or whatever this is, and that wire comes down and around, and then it'll also go negative post, and then the negative battery cable, I put the heat shrink on it, that goes to the back of the head, that doubles off and has this big negative here, which I may just put to frame, not really sure. Then I crawled under the car and I cut the fuel pump wire, and that is actually the AC coil is back there. Notice it's not up here, it's under the car. I'll show you. Truck, whatever. So this is the transmission cooler, and then that is the evaporator with a fan on it. So I took the wire from above the drive shaft for the fuel pump and that fan, brought it over the frame right there, zip tied the two together, and then loomed them. You can see right there, and they run all the way up over these bars. You can kind of see it going there. I have to do some kind of attachment to hold it. It won't go anywhere, but there is a harness there I could zip tie it to, which I did that up there. You can kind of see back there, right, and you can't really see it, right, yeah, right there, kind of in the shadow, right there is a zip tie on the harness. Oh, now you're on the 4. Man down, man down. Got you back. So those wires come up and go to the 2 relays that I used an existing bolt with a nut and washers. So I'm building out the relays, but you can see the 2 reds come up. One is fuel pump, one is that fan. I had to extend the fuel pump wire some. No, I'm wrong. Those are battery. The orange one right there is the fuel pump, and then the red one on this side is the fan. They're just long. Then I built 2 battery positives in that harness that come over to the relays, that feed the battery power. Then for the fuel pump, this is the ground right here, and that goes to the back of the head. You can see the bolt right there, so that'll provide ground. The other relay for that fan underneath, not sure how we're gonna do it. I don't really want to do it key on, so I don't know. I may put right there like another, like one of those switches, like coolant switch type thing, but it'll run that fan all the time. So actually, no, I know what I'm gonna do. This is the 12 volt signal for the AC. So I'll go back here and I'll find that wire and I'll feed that over to the relay, so it'll provide a 12 volt switch, and then I'll ground that relay to the back of the head. That takes care of those two relays, and then all I have is the fan relay for the radiator fan, which is controlled by the Phytech, this yellow wire here that I extended and then forgot this isn't going over here. It's going to the relay, possibly on the firewall. I'll probably mount it. I will probably mount that relay maybe right there on that hole. Try and use up holes that are already existing, or I'll take that bolt back out and I'll put the relay hanging off of that bolt. That way the wires are shorter. The majority of the wires are shorter, and the only one that I'll have run up is the power wire to here. That's what I'm gonna do. So I have them, I have all the relays ready, and I wrote on each one what it is. Fuel pump. This one says evap fan. Oh, it's on the other side. Right there. AC fan. And then this one over here says rad fan. And then I got the fuses for it right there. These are the ones that take the fuse right in it. So it simplifies it a little bit. So there's the female plug that I have to build for that radiator fan. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to worry about triggering that fan for AC. We don't have two fans, we have one fan. So I'll just trigger that fan even if the AC is on. Oh, no, because it has its own fan. Never mind. Cancel that. So it's very close to being ready to fire back up, and I could test the fuel pressure and all that stuff. And I kind of was thinking, if I had a voltage drop at the battery from the alternator was 13.6.7 to the battery was 12.7.6, I would can only imagine that the voltage drop to the pump would be even more. I wish I had tested that a little more, but I didn't. So I'm hoping that this way I get full 13.6 at the battery, 13.6 at that block, which then will feed 13.6 to the fuel pump, which should help the fuel pump. But worst case, I did get in the box over there a in-tank pump. So worst case is I'll have to extend some wires up to the top of the tank and build something to go in the tank. May end up doing that anyways. We'll see. But there's more done. Oil pressure wires on. There's a bunch of little things. Dashboard's all back together now. I got it all back together. That was yesterday. End of the day, I got that back together. So maybe I put that in yesterday's video. I don't remember. But plugging away. So tomorrow I should have these relays finished out, the relay for the front fan finished out, and be able to turn the Phytech on. The only other thing I have to check and make sure is that the handheld plugs into here. I have to make sure that this red does not stay battery power. I did notice that when I shut the car off, the controller still had power. That will kill the battery. So I have to make sure. And I remember on the airboat, that was an issue. Now he had a disconnect, the battery disconnect, so it was easy enough to shut that off. Oh, no, that was the issue. Because it's direct battery, even with the disconnect, it didn't shut off. And we ended up having to cut this wire and feeding it to 12 volt ignition source. So it only had power key on. So I have to double check that. I think that's kind of another issue with these Phytech units, is they don't know how to make that key on power for some reason. So I have to wire the Keon power for it, which is going to go to the fuse box inside. This red with a white, I may just take this one out of here and hide it, and then just kind of extend it to another hole over there. Just kind of run this wire across just so it's not coming out of this hole. But I have to have a place for the handheld to go through, and that takes a big plug. So it's kind of, you know, do I undo this wire for no reason, or do I leave this wire? I don't really know. Anyways, headed home. It's Halloween, so I'm headed home a little bit early. But I appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new videos. Leave me a comment, and as always, have a good day.